Patungo sa 2025 national and local elections, sama-sama nating pakinggan ang mga solusyon at tugon sa mga hinaing at sumbong. Sa talakayang nakasentro sa mga isyu ng bayan, ang tanong ng publiko, bakit ikaw? Hatid ng buong puwersa ng DZRH at The Manila Times. Mapapanood nationwide sa DZRH TV, live din sa DZRH News website at sa The Manila Times streaming channel. Pati na rin sa mga social media account ng DZRH, DZRH TV at DZRH News Facebook, YouTube at TikTok accounts. Bawat Pilipino, kabahagi sa programang Sentro ang Boses ng Masa. Bakit ikaw? The Town Hall Election Series.
Nalalapit na ang halalan at nagsimula na nga tayo sa pagsusuri at pagkilala kung sino ang mga pasok sa pamantayan ng mga karapat-dapat na mahalal sa posisyon batay sa mga katayuan ng mga kandidato sa iba't ibang isyu na kinakaharap ng bansa.
Sa isang makabuluhang talakayan noong nakaraang linggo, pinag-usapan natin ang mga suliranin sa kalsada at sa lansangan na nais dalhin ng mga kandidato sa Senado. Ilan dyan ang problema sa pagbaha sa traffic at sa pagkasira ng kalikasan na anila ay matutugunan kung mabibigyan ng sapat na pondo ng pamahalaan.
Sa bawat episode, narinig natin ang mga praktikal na hakbang at aksyon na sa tingin ng mga kandidato ay dapat bigyang prioridad ng mga tumatakbo. Isa na nga riyan ang paksa na tatalakayin natin ngayong araw. Ako po si Ezra Raya ng The Manila Times.
Sa ating episode ngayon, samahan nyo kaming sipatin ang mga benepisyo at hadlang sa pagsusulong ng digitalization sa pamahalaan at sa ating lipunan. Ako naman si Karen Oyong ng DZRH. At ito ang
DZRH and the Manila Times Town Hall Election Series.
Nako, partner Ezra, ayan, welcome back. Nagkita na naman tayo ulit.
Nga,
ayan.
partner, excited na.
Yes, saktong-sakto ang background at naging karanasan ng mga makakasama natin ngayong araw. So simulan na po natin sa una po nating panauhin, dating opisyal ng militar, namuno sa ilang kudeta, sa ilalim ng Administrasyong Aquino, nabigyan ng amnestiya at pumasok sa politika. Ilang taon ding naglingkod sa Senado at naging Secretary ng Department of Information and Communications Technology simula 2019 hanggang 2021. Muling tatakbo sa pagka-senador. Ladies and gentlemen, former Senator Gringo Honasan. Magandang araw po, sir.
Magandang araw, Karen, Ezra. Maraming salamat po. At idagdag ko lang, bakit ikaw? Bakit naman hindi kami? Inunahan ko na sila.
At makakasama niya sa dating kongresista at gobernador ng Catanduanes, principal author ng Philippine E-Commerce Act at may akda ng House Resolution na layong magkaroon ng internet connection ang mga government offices, universities at schools. Attorney Leandro Verceles Jr. Magandang araw po, sir.
Magandang araw po, Ezra and Karen. Thank you for having us, me and sila, and si Manong Greg.
Ayan, so magandang tanghali po sa ating mga panauhin, mga sirs. Ayan, at maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo sa ating programa. At kasama rin natin ngayon sa ating studio para makibahagi sa ating talakayan isang professor, researcher at consultant. Mayroon siyang doctorate degree sa public administration at may karanasan sa pampubliko at pribadong sektor. Dr. Lloyd Bautista.
Karen, sa unang mga episode natin, nagsimula tayo sa mga pressing issues sa bansa na hindi na nawala sa mga diskusyon kada eleksyon. So ilan lang dyan yung edukasyon, kalusugan, at pasahod.
Ayun. So, Ezra, ngayon naman ay digitalization tayo. Medyo high-tech tayo konti.
Oo, high-tech.
Ayan. Medyo matagal nang isinusulong pero ngayon ay talagang mas malakas ang panawagan. Bakit kaya Yan ang gusto nating alamin mula sa ating mga guests. At gaya ng nakasanayan dito sa Town Hall Election Series, taong bayan ang mangunguna sa diskusyon dahil ang tanong galing mismo sa publiko.
May 2 minuto ang bawat kandidato para sagutin ito. Wala namang parusa kapag sobra, pero syempre walang lamangan.
At simulan na siguro natin agad sa maikling background sa paksa na tatalakayin natin. So mayroon tayong katanungan mula kay Ms. Hazel Lopez, isang estudyante. Panuurin po natin ito.
Ano-ano ang mga dahilan kung bakit hindi pa computerized ang ilang ahensya ng gobyerno?
Wow, okay. So, yan po ang ating unang katanungan. Let's ask our esteemed guest. Unahin po muna natin, Senator Gringo, sir. Ano po ang inyong kasagutan dyan?
Kulang ang pag-unawa ng pamahalaan at ng sambayanan sa punto ng digitalization. No? Ano ba ang digitalization? Mas mabilis ang intervention, mas precise, mas matipid, mas mura. So, kailangan iparating natin sa pamahalaan mismo at sa mga mamamayan na ito ang objective noon. No? Kaya lang sinasabi, kaya lang hindi ginagawa. Naranasan ko yan ng 2.5 years sa aking panunungkulang bilang kalihim ng Department of Information and Communications Technology. So, digital education sa pangkalahatan.
Okay. Pero nabanggit nyo, Senator Greg, dahil may oras ka pa naman po, ano po ba yung naging challenge? Bakit parang mahirap po umabagal yung pag-digitalization ng ating mga government agencies?
Pag pumapasok yung DICT nun para i-connect, no? Ang katanungan palagi, pag kinakausap namin yung local government, ilan ba ang boto dyan? Pag tinatanong namin yung mga pribadong entity, saan ba tayo kikita dyan? Sinasabi ng gobyerno, inclusive growth, no? Whole of nation approach. So dapat puntirihin natin yung pinakamalayo, pinakamaliit, at pinakamahirap para sabay-sabay ang pag-unlad. So pag kinonect mo yan, dadami ang tao, magiging productive, no? Dadami ang boto at kikita ka dyan. Ito yung classic management theory, no? Na short-term investment for a long-term benefit.
Long-term dapat ang
Pangmatagalan.
partner. Pangmatagalan.
Kahit na sino presidente.
Oo, napansin mo sinabi ni Sir, tao ang dapat kumbinsihin kasi we have...
At yung gobyerno.
At ang gobyerno.
Yep.
So both sides, tao and gobyerno, dapat ay may digital education.
Kasi may facilities, partner
Correct.
sabi.
At mura.
Alright. And for Attorney Verceles, sir?
Yeah, hi. Well, nandun po ako sa umpisa po ng internet eh. That was back in, lampas po, I went into Congress 1992. At that time, wala pang internet. In fact, na-defend ko po yung e-commerce act ko. May lumapit ng isang congresswoman na sinabi sa akin, Congressman, ano po yung internet? Ano yan, fishnet? So medyo nagbago lahat tayo. Nagiging ganon. And then napansin ko talaga, kulang talaga yung computerization dyan. There are two things. Tamang sinabi po ni Senator Honasan that yung una, funds, kulang talaga. And at that time, they didn't have priority. In fact, at that time, wala pa yung DICT. I was, humbly speaking, ako po yung gumawa ng unang-unang Department of, hindi tawag dyan DICT, pero Department of Information Technology lang. Wala pang communications eh. I was the first one, pero hindi yan na nagawa ng batas after I left in 2001. Anyway, yung challenges yan, yung una, kulang sa funds. At saka yung isa, I have to tell you this, kailangan talaga sabihin nito, ay ayaw nila mag-computerize. Kasi computerization, lalabas po yung mga, hindi sila become corrupt. Because it opens up, transparent na yun eh. There are many agencies na ayaw talaga. Ayaw talaga because lalo yung connection between interagencies, ayaw na talaga because hindi sila makakakilos ng maganda. Pero ngayon, too late eh. They have to do it na, no choice sila. Pero at that time, talagang ayaw na ayaw.
Because of minimal human intervention.
Yes, because if you have human intervention, diyan lumalabas yung corruption. Pero pagka computerized, ang hirap talaga maging corrupt dyan. Very difficult.
Right. Thank you for that. Very insightful ang mga sagot nila, no, partner? So, Karen, narinig na natin kung gaano kalaki yung advantages ng digitalization sa government operations. Sa katunayan, binigyang diin ng Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028 ang kahalagahan ng digitalization sa lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno. Dahil katulad nga ng nabanggit ni na Senator Onasan at Attorney Verceles, mas mabilis ang serbisyo, magkakaroon ng transparency at mababawasan ang korupsyon. Para naman po sa susunod na katanungan, paano naman po mapapabilis ang pagpapatupad nito sa ating bansa? Si Senator na muna, no?
Budget. Tuwan-tuwa ako noon dahil tuwing budget hearing, ipipresenta ko yung budget ng DICT. Dahil hindi masyado nilang na-appreciate at naintindihan, konti yung tanong. Hindi maganda dahil hindi nila masyadong naintindihan. Yung mga kausap ko, konti yung budget. Kapos. Yung budget ng DICT noon, gusto lang para sa region. That's one. Plano, end-to-end na programa at plano sa bawat ahensya, bawat sektor ng ating lipunan at ng ating pamahalaan.
Thank you, sir. Attorney Lee.
Well, nag-usap tayo, bandwidth ba? Bandwidth? Bakit masyadong...
Same question kay Attorney Verceles. Ulitin ko lang, paano naman po mapapabilis ang pagpapatupad nitong digitalization sa ating bansa?
Okay. Sa ngayon, bali dalawa ang palagak yung trust ng DICT ngayon. Number one, yung backbone nila, which is infrastructure na parang, kumbaga, it will carry all the data, no? Kaya lang, the problem there is, alam mo, I don't really believe government should go into technology. Ibig sabihin, hindi talaga sila ang gumagawa. Dapat ibigay mo yun sa private sector kasi, technology changes so many times. Very, very fast yan. So, hindi talaga, they're not really the best to implement it. Ibigay sa private sector. Now, sa private sector, may isa dyan na dapat pasukin natin dyan. Ito, game changer, pero bakit hindi pa ginagawa yan? Yung Starlink na Elon Musk, yung Starlink per terminal. If you do that, that's easily, gawin natin per barangay yun. 42,046 barangays, pati yung eskwelahan. We do that, and we give free internet there sa barangay plazas. Fantastic. You will be able to speed up the implementation. To give you background dyan, with 200 megabits per second sa kada isang terminal dyan, napakaganda po yan sa mga tao natin. And then, there's a correlation between the GDP and also the bandwidth that you have. And if you do it that way, mura lang naman yan. I don't know why they're not doing it yet. It only costs about 2.5 billion pesos for all the terminals, and then yung yearly, pwede natin kunin yan sa GAA, sa General Appropriations Act, it's going to cost yung mga 18 billion pesos. So mura na yun. I think we should do that. Dapat all barangays should have that. And if
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Go ahead, sir.
Karen, Ezra, pwede kong ilagdag, may remaining time.
Yes.
National priorities. Konti lang ang pondo, no? So, konti lang ang pondo. Saan natin gagamitin to? Inclusive growth na naman. Unahin natin yung pinakamaliit, pinakamalayo, pinakamahirap, para sabay-sabay. Priorities.
Yes.
Kulang talaga yung pondo.
So, malaking problema talaga, partner, na according to our guest, si Senator Gringo and si Attorney Lee, pondo, and then also
Plano.
yung initiative, kung talaga kasi yung gugustuhin, ay gagawa ng paraan, di ba? Sabi nga ng saying, di ba, partner Ezra? Pero kailangan i-prioritize talaga siya dahil ang direksyon na natin, lahat ng buong mundo ay digitalization na eh. We are going there.
No, but also
towards
another
that
thing is,
direction.
I don't think they're creative enough. Dapat they have to exercise some creativity. Ang dami, nandiyan ang lahat but they're not doing it. I don't know why, but sa akin talaga, we have to be innovative. And I don't think present DICT ngayon they're not innovative enough. That's why I'd like to enter Senate, and also si Senator Nasan, talagang maraming experience to. If we both get in, I think we will bring back creativity, innovation, babalik yun.
All right, well said, Senator Onasan and Attorney Verceles, creativity and innovation. Maraming salamat po sa inyong mga sagot. Very insightful,
Yes.
partner.
At narinig po natin ang kanilang mga kasagutan na panimula pa lamang yan. Kasama po natin si former Senator Honasan at Attorney Verceles. Sa ating magbabalik, mas palalawakin pa natin ang paghimay sa mga isyong ito. Dito lang yan sa Bakit Ikaw? The Town Hall Election Series. Nagbabalik po ang Town Hall Election Series. Marami na tayong napupulot. Una na riyan kung gaano kahalaga na mag-adapt ang ating bansa sa mga demands ng technology. Pero mahalaga na sa pag-unlad na ito, walang napag-iiwanan, partner.
Sa ating susunod na katanungan, pakinggan po natin ang tanong mula kay Jerome Polancos, isang rider ng isang ride-hailing service app. Pakinggan natin ito.
May pag-asa bang mapaganda at gawing mas mura ang ating internet services?
Uy, gusto ko yung tanong na yan.
Oo nga, pinag-uusapan lang natin, partner.
Mas mura?
Siyempre, kapag mayroon na tayong digitalization, kailangan natin ng mas malawak at mas malakas na internet service connection.
Of course.
At ayon sa tala, tila rito sa Pilipinas ang pinakamahal na internet service kumpara sa ibang bansa sa Asia.
So ang tanong sa ating mga distinguished gentlemen, may tsansa pa ba na magiging abot kaya at mapapabilis ang internet connection at services natin? Senator Gringo, sir.
Well, Karen, no, Esra, hindi lang may tsansa pa ba? Dapat. Paano natin gagawing mura ito, no? Yung energy supply, di ba? Energy, no? Reasonable prices and steady supply. Isang component yan, no? Pero kayang-kayang gawin ito eh. Mas mura yung connectivity kisa tulay, no? Isa kalsada, isa release ng tren. Yun lang, magkakambal ito. Di yung tinatawag na infrastructure at infrastructure. So, ang suggestion namin is, ito nga, babalik tayo dun sa, ito lang ang pondo, saan natin ito gagamitin? At ang approach ko, sa aking pananaw, is go for the smallest, the farthest, and the poorest. Mumura yan eh. Meron tayong energy development plan. Naputol at yung sumunod na administrasyon, puro stopgap measures na. Meron tayong langis, meron tayong natural gas. Natural ang connectivity natin. No? When we harness the power of towers, no? Cables, and satellites. Mapapamura yan.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Attorney Lee.
Yeah, dito po yun. Kasi ang problema ng Pilipinas, maliit eh. Kaya may economies of scale yan. Talo tayo dyan because we are a small country. So, yung infrastruktura, hindi ma-expand ng mabuti. So, that's the problem we have eh. Now, there's also other factors dyan sa expenses eh. Medyo may corruption rin dyan eh. Kasi alam mo, pagdating yung mga cell sites, halimbawa, pagpunta nila sa isang munisipyo o ano, parang may extra kailangan eh, ng kung tarifa, kumbaga, no? That increases your expenses. Kaya yung mga iba dyan, practical problems yan, but we have practical solutions. Na I challenge naman, hindi yan ibaba natin yung charges. Why do we make it free? Pwede naman yun eh. At least sa barangay, sa mga malayo, pwede rin. Sa barangay plaza, pwede rin libre. Again, I go back to the model na gamitin yung satellite dish. At saka yung magbabayad dyan, gobyerno, very simple lang. It's only about 18 billion per year. At saka ilibre mo yung internet dyan using Wi-Fi dun sa barangay plaza. Yan, that's a very easy solution. I already did my computations sa Excel sheet. Very easy to do. No problem there. I think that should be a basis of a bill. Now, if I'm in, pati nandyan si Senator Honasan, pwede kami mag-team up dyan. Batman, Robin, ayos.
Superheroes.
Dagdag ko lang. We have the track record. Nung panahon namin, 800% ang increase ng broadband. Free Wi-Fi, libre, no? Diba? 500%. Kinapos lang kami ng oras eh.
Yeah, so we should get back in. He should get in. Re-elect ako naman bago. Team kami.
Ayun, teamwork sila, partner. Tayo rin, teamwork din tayo.
Pareho pang Uragon.
Makes the dream work.
Taga Bicol ka.
Hello daw sa mga taga Bicol, mga Uragon.
Mga Uragon, taga Bicol. Kamindua.
So sa puntong ito, ibibigay po natin ang mikropono kay Dr. Lloyd Bautista. Mukhang meron siyang mabigat na tanong. Ayan, sa ating mga guests. Dr.
Thank
Lloyd?
you so much. Thank you, Senator Honasan and Congressman Verceles. The question that I want to ask is something that affects ordinary households. Based on the records that we've seen, sirs, cybercrime has risen. From 2019, it was just roughly 8,000. Today, it's now about 40,000. More or less about 400% increase. Karamihan sa mga nagiging biktima are senior citizens. Even professionals are getting victimized by cybercrimes. And ang sambayanan ay nagtatanong, do we need a legislation to address this problem? What are other strategies that you can recommend? Because ang tinatamaan talaga dito yung mga ordinaryong mamamayan.
Thank you, Dr. Lloyd, for that question. Tama-tama, partner, kasi cybercrime ay mainit na topic at
Malaking
marami
issue yan, partner, lalo
ang
na nung
nabibiktima.
post-pandemic.
Correct.
Oo,
Ayan.
tumaas yan.
Okay, so gentlemen, si Attorney Lee po muna.
Well, alam mo, balik tayo dito sa E-Commerce Act, which I am proudly one of the principal sponsors sa House. Yan po yung template. Kaya dahil doon, we have this 2.2 trillion pesos for the call centers, yung revenue, annual revenue, pati yung 25 million may trabaho na ng Pilipino at saka 20,000 interconnections. Now, that template law siya po nag-umpisa. Pero ang problema lang dyan, yung cybercrime, hindi pa uso yan eh. Bago lang yan eh. Kaya there was another law that had for cybercrime. Kaya lang, the thing is, sa ngayon, because technology moves very, very fast, we also have to move fast. Normally, yung legislation palagi delayed eh. Mas mabilis yung teknolohiya, yung speed ng teknolohiya. But we have to always be on guard with legislation dyan. Now, where do we get inspiration? Many other countries, they have that already. Yung mga cybercrime marami dyan. We just have to look for the experiences and then adopt it here. At saka we also have our own experiences here. So, maging busy kami lahat. Si Senator Honasan, pati ako, will be very, very busy in the Senate to make these laws catch up with the phenomena of the present, yung cybercrime, yung sinasabi nyo. Pero it's an ongoing effort eh. Talaga, we have to be doing that all the time. Well, maraming bagong lalabas, especially ngayon, in the age of AI, maraming ang lalabas dyan eh. We'll be very, very busy dyan. And then if you do not do that, sayang talagang opportunity dyan. Because the implementation is only as good as the laws that you make. That's why we have to be innovative, we have to be creative, and we have to do it fast. Thank you.
All right, same question for Senator Honasan.
Well, Dr. Lloyd, legislation, educate our legislators muna. Educate everybody. Digital education. Actually hindi cybercrime cyber threat. Every single minute, every single second, we are under threat. In fact, during our watch sa DICT, we are being hacked. The office of the president is being hacked. So, ang threat, family level, private sector, public sector. So, digital education. Educate the families, educate government, educate every single sector. I cannot discuss the details because we reported to the president during our time and something was done. Pero kini-question na naman yung confidential and intelligence funds. Nakakapiranggot. Yet, we were able to deliver, So, educate, digital education, educate our legislators so that they can make laws. Every single law must address these cyber threats.
All right, so Dr. Lloyd, do you have any follow-up question?
Po ako, because this is something that is also being discussed by many lawmakers, scholars, academics. Ang tanong ko po ay, do we need to regulate social media? There are lots of misleading fake news, even yung mga deep fakes na sinasabi natin. And it can actually harm our electoral system. Now, if you become elected as senator, do you plan to come up with a legislation to regulate social media, particularly accrediting mga bloggers? Because hindi kagaya ng ating mga journalists. They're all recognized and reputable. Ito, ang dami nating mga bloggers who are just spewing fake news and misleading information to the detriment of society. So future senators, what would you say about this? Do you legislate social media or not?
Maganda yung tanong, partner, Kasi saan nga ba nanggagaling yung fake news? Di sa mga tao din, sa mga influencers din. So that question, sir, magsimula muna tayo kay Attorney Verceles.
Alam mo, yung COMELEC, siya po nag-umpisa eh. They made social media, mass media na. So sakop po yun sa mass media concept ng konstitusyon. meaning regulated na. Mass media is regulated. So if you want to go to that, we can go further by legislation na i-gawin yung social media as mass media. And we do that covered lahat. In other words, lahat ng po ng restrictions nandun. Pero of course, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, nandiyan po yun. Hindi madidisturbo yan. Just like what we protect the journalists, we protect the radio, television, free speech dyan. Okay na yun. So the bloggers, and ngayon, nagbabago na eh. Sila talaga yung parang sila yung radio station, lalo yung mga cable, at saka yung mga social media outlets, gano'n. Parang mass media na talaga sila. So kung gano'n, it's just a simple law, I think, that will make them mass media, considered, and after that, then they follow everybody sabay-sabay na we are all together on this.
Thank you, Attorney. Senator Gringo?
Dr. Lloyd, if they can threaten families, the Office of the President, they can threaten COMELEC. So, digital education na naman, no? Pag may duda ka, huwag ka muna mag-click. Ang sagot sa high-tech is low-tech. Diba? So, until we can develop a more effective regulatory mechanism, we will always be vulnerable. So, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, no? So, COMELEC, one man, one vote. Biruin mo kung ma-hack yun. And it has been done. Attempts are being undertaken every minute. So, now we are going to have elections, no? So, digital education, no? Vigilance. Pero ang sagot natin dyan is, pag hindi ka sigurado, huwag ka muna mag-click. Puntahan mo. So, uulitin ko, ang sagot sa high-tech is low-tech mo. Sigurado ka, secure, at face-to-face. Body language, kita mo kagad. That's one approach.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lloyd, and thank you, Attorney Lee and Senator Gringo. Ngayon naman, partner, pakinggan natin itong isa pang katanungan mula kay Conyo Bicolano. Isa po siyang radio DJ at host.
Tayo po ay nasa digital age na at isa sa mga pinakamagandang na-discovery natin sa era na to ay yung tinatawag po nating e-governance or electronic governance na kung saan gumagamit po tayo ng iba't ibang digital strategies, makabagong pamamaraan para makapaghatid ng serbisyo sa mga kababayan nating Pilipino. Ngayon, given the importance po of e-governance sa panahon natin ngayon, how will you work to streamline the government services through digital platforms while ensuring the protection of the data of every Filipino citizens?
All right.
Ganda ng tanong, partner.
Loaded
no?
din yung
Oo,
question.
loaded ang haba. Nakuha niyo po ba yun? Okay, let's start with Attorney Verceles.
Well, ito yung e-governance, matagal ng concept na to eh. In fact, I studied that when I studied abroad, no, for this eh. Na ngayon, e-governance, medyo meron ng bago na ngayon eh. Maybe we should inject there also AI because AI can support all the e-government efforts that you want. Kasama po yun eh. Now, to streamline, ginagawa na talaga yan ngayon eh. Pero ang hindi pa ginagawa ay yung total connectivity ng mga agencies ng government. Kasi like I said kanina, ayaw nila kasi baka ma-discover nila nung anong kalokohan ginagawa nila. We have to interconnect because if you interconnect dyan, masisilip ng iba eh. Whatever is done here, malalaman nito. Yan ang ayaw nila. I don't want to say the agency, but that was before. Ayaw nila mag-connect. Agency to agency, ayaw talaga nila. Pero if we do that, yan, mas-streamline yan at saka malalaman natin lahat. And of course, there's also such thing as, siyempre, privacy of data. No? We have already the Data Privacy Act. So nandiyan na yun. Eh. I studied that already. Mukhang okay naman yun. Maybe there will be refinements pagka nasa Senate na kami ni Senator Honasan. Ayan, palagi ko binabagit si Senator. Eh. Kaibigan ko na to. BFF ko na to. Eh. So anyway, so mangyari po, there will be always continued legislation dyan to protect the privacy. Sa ngayon, medyo okay na yung Data Privacy Act. Very strict yan eh. So, okay naman tayo dyan. So again, maraming mabilis talaga ang panahon talaga. We have to be up to date. And like I said kanina, palagi yung legislation, hindi lang dito, pati sa Estados Unidos eh, palagi delayed sila eh, pagdating sa ganyan eh. Mas mabilis yung teknolohiya, yung pace yan. We have to go very, very fast now eh. And well, I'm saddened that not everybody in Congress knows about technologies. Kaya siguro If we're there now, we can help out strongly. Pero it cannot be done by just one. We need 2 or 3 or 4 senators.
Thank you, Attorney Lee. Senator Gringo, siguro we just like to ask kung paano natin protektahan yung ating data. Well, na-mention na ni Attorney Lee yung ating data privacy. Pero what, as a senator, if elected, ano po yung mga hakbang o mga legislation po na plano nyo pong gawin para masiguro naman po na yung data po natin online and in all platforms are safe and protected?
Well, Karen, Ezra, napansin ko, ito ay pananaw ko lang, no? From my own experience, no? Na napakahina pa rin natin, especially government, sa baseline data management. Magugulat kayo, no? 21 years naman ako dun sa Senado. Nagdedebate kami, iba-iba ang database namin. May kanya-kanya pa kaming expert. Pero may lumalabas na batas. Products of compromise and conflicting information. Can you imagine? Para maging secure tayo, dapat redundant. May baseline data tayo, may backup system tayo. Pero babalik at babalik kami nili sa digital education. At yung una nating kailangan turuan kung paano i-harness yung power ng ICT, technology, is government. Nandun ang regulatory powers eh. That's one approach. Second, babalik ako kay Bicolano ninyo, no? Mas magagaling itong kabataan ngayon. Multitasking. Di ba? So, ibabalik namin sa inyo. Mag-participate kayo. Huwag kayong tahimik lang. Huwag kayong mag-antay lang. Huwag kayong reactive. Dapat proactive kayo. Because you are our most strategic, renewable, and precious asset. You are our next generation of global and national leaders and citizens. Sa amin nasa sa inyo yung pag-asa namin. Tulungan nyo kami na i-digitize at educate yung lahat ng sektor. Mag-ingay kayo. Makialam kayo.
Alright, maraming salamat po sa inyong mga sagot. Para isa pang katanungan, kaugnay din ito ng pagpapalawak ng digitalization bilang proyektong dapat tutukan ng gobyerno. Sa ilalim ng Public Service Act 11659, pinapayagan na ang 100% foreign ownership ng mga public services sa bansa. Kabilang na ang telecommunications. So ito po ang tanong. Ano po ito at makatutulong ba ito sa digitalization program? So let's start with Attorney Verceles.
Well, of course, kasi alam mo sa Constitution na yon, hindi ganun eh. Pero at least based on a law or some regulation, ang lalabas siya, in-extend nila po ay hindi naman kailangan wholly owned eh. Yung public utilities, dati kailangan wholly owned yan eh. So ngayon, nagbago, naging mas liberal na sila. What's the benefit? Mas maraming inward investments. Funds, that's what we need. In fact, kung sana, lakin natin pa yung percentage na yun in favor of the foreign, okay na yun sa akin yan eh. We bring in the funds and then gaganda po ang technology profile ng Pilipinas dyan. So that is something that we can explore further. Well, and then, but of course, we also keep in mind that why do we always have to be users of technology? Why don't we create it? Kaya naman natin eh. Sabi ni Senator Honasan, magaling yung Pilipino. I agree. 100%, 101% pa. Kaya natin yan. So instead of being user of technology, let us create it. We are innovative, we are creative. Kaya natin yan.
Thank you, sir. Senator Gringo?
One approach is charter change. Pinag-usapan, whether lupa yan or digital infrastructure, hindi naman nila maiuuwi yan eh. Huwag lang natin ipaubaya sa kanila yung control. Pag sinabing control, depende yan sa policy, sa patakaran, sa regulatory mechanisms, no? At kailangan dyan. Ito ang reklamo ng mga foreign investor eh. Bagong presidente, bagong mayor, bagong governor, bagong senado, bagong medium-term development program. Kailangan may continuity, predictable, stable, di ba? Para makapagplano naman sila at tumaya sa atin sa pangmatagalan. Pero wag tayo magkamali na ipaubaya sa kanila yung control. Strategic yan eh. Di ba? Yung digital infrastructure, sabi nga ni Dr. Lloyd kanina, hinahack tayo. May cyber threat, may cybercrime. Yun ang resulta ng hindi tayo predictable, hindi malinaw ang policies. Political will. But security, digitalization is everyone's concern. Hindi lang ito responsibilidad ng gobyerno. Whole of nation approach tayo naman.
Okay. Ay, yes,
Let me just make comment because I have extra seconds left. Yung po sinasabi ni Senator Honasan is control of media. Now, dito po sa e-commerce act ko, ako mismo nag-defend yan. I know, I'm very, very sure that I separated the media from the total corporation. So, ibig sabihin po ito, let's say you have a television station. Normally, kasi media yan, di ba? 100% dapat wholly owned yan. Hindi na kailangan eh. Hiwalay mo yung media, and then yung infrastruktura, iba. So iba yung percentage. Ito 100% control, ito naman 26%. So that is one thing that the television stations or the radio stations can do. Hiwalayin po nila yung media part, yung content, at saka infrastructure. Iba yung percentage dito, iba yung percentage dito. Ito control, ito you can give it to, you can have that made by pwede mo pasok dyan yung foreign investment. So lalaki at saka makakaroon tayo ng magandang infusion dyan ng foreign capital. So,
all right. Thank you so much. Very heated itong topic na to, partner. Thank you so much sa mga sagot ninyo, Senator Honasan and Attorney Verceles.
At napakinggan po natin ang mga tugon sa tanong ng publiko. Magbabalik po tayo para sa ilan pang katanungan. Nakatutok pa rin kayo sa Town Hall Election Series. Kasama pa rin po natin ang dalawang kandidato na tumatakbong pagkasenador, Attorney Verceles at former Senator Gringo Honasan. Umiikot pa rin ang ating diskusyon sa kakulangan ng plano. Tayo po ay magpapatuloy sa ating tanungan. Partner Ezra.
Alright, partner. Balikan natin si Dr. Lloyd Bautista para sa isa na namang katanungan.
Thank you so much. Itong katanungan na ito ay madalas nakikita ng ating industries in the Philippines. One of our challenges right now is preparing the workforce for the digital world. We have so many graduates na when the industries look at their competency, parang hindi sila handa in terms of digital skills. Ang Pilipinas ay ang isa sa bansa na pinakamaraming higher educational institutions. In fact, our higher educational institutions, 1,900 plus. Larger than Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Yet we have the highest number of unemployed people. So sa ating future senators, what would be any legislations or recommendations to prepare our workforce for the digital world?
Thank you, Dr. Lloyd, for that question. All right, so partner, kanina lumulutang sa mga salita ng ating mga guests, yung edukasyon,
digital
being
education.
informed. Ayan, so eto na, paano ba ang upskilling, paano ba ma-prepare, tinatanungan ni Dr. Lloyd, ang ating workforce.
Oo, importanteng tanong yun. Handa ba tayo sa digitalization? Hindi pwedeng sulong lang ng sulong. Handa ba ang masa? Ngayon, that question first, Senator Honasan.
Dr. Lloyd, babalik po tayo sa digital education. Magugulat tayo. Handang-handa yung masa. Ito po, analogous ito, no? Ano ang unang binibili ng isang magsasaka pag may disposable income siya? Hindi basic needs. Cellphone. A cellphone will give a farmer access to market information. Alam na niya kung ano ang halaga nung itinanim niya at inani na pakwan o palay. Automatically, yung farm to market, totoo na. Wala na yung middleman na bubura. Second, we have to integrate backwards and decide. No? When you talk of productivity, the labor force, no? Our agricultural sector, basic needs, food, is it a supply problem or a distribution problem? Kung supply problem, palay, bakit nabubulok ang palay sa mga bodega? So again, we go back to digital education. But that's happening already, even without government intervention. So kailangan lang po i-formalize natin. All legislation must point towards first addressing two concerns. One is the medium, which is technology, no? And the content. Ano ang ilalagay natin doon? So again, we'll go back over and over again to digital education. Educate government, educate all government sectors, and connect everybody to each other.
And same question kay Attorney Verceles.
Well, I hate to say the bad news, pero hindi po tayo handa, Dr. Lloyd. Bakit kasi hindi, yung tanong lang dyan, may bagong development ngayon artificial intelligence At lumalabas, parang I think 30% of the workforce or up to 50% will be displaced dahil dito sa AI. Halimbawa, yung mga software engineers. Hindi na uso ngayon yung mga sabi na Python or yung mga software languages AI na talaga ngayon. So, we have to upscale them. Pero ang problema, sino magbayad dyan? I think it is incumbent upon the government to have a skills training for that. We have to upgrade that for them. That is, otherwise, mawawala yung BPO o yung call center industry natin. You know, I'm very proud of it because of my e-commerce act. Nakaroon ng 2.2 trillion na pesos pumasok sa call center. So, I want to protect that also kasi parang meron akong at stake dyan Now, that is for the present term. Pero for the long term, bata pa sila We have to really give them the necessary skill set to compete in the new world, kumbaga, no? That's why we have to have AI, a world-class education. Kaya my platform is based on that. This is my flyer. It is called New Direction, world-class education, one-on-one instruction, one teacher to one student. Ito talaga para sa lahat ng mga kabataan from preschool hanggang matapos sila sa kolehiyo or sa postgrad or vocational school. We start them early. We do this. Ganon. And then that is going to be my platform. So my focus is really this one talaga is 1:1 education. One teacher to one student using AI. At lahat po yan makakaroon ng libreng computer at saka libreng internet. Gagamitin po natin yung internet na satellite in the barangays.
Thank you, Attorney Lee and Senator Gringo. I think there's a follow-up question. Dr. Lloyd, go ahead.
I like to follow up on the artificial intelligence. Maybe we can ask our candidates, what is your position on artificial intelligence? In light of the fact na maraming schools kasi, pinagbabawalan yung mga plagiarism. Kasi ginagamit yung artificial intelligence to yung mga chat GPT. Sila na yung gumagawa ng mga essays. Even ChatGPT can answer a bar examination and even pass a bar examination. So, as a senatorial candidate, what is your position on the role and impact of artificial intelligence to the country moving forward? Sirs?
Go ahead po, Senator Gringo.
Attorney Lloyd, I go back to my original proposal. No? Strengthen our baseline data management para common ang data natin. AI, hindi tayo dapat matakot sa AI. It's a human creation. Ang sagot dyan is a human intervention also. So, baseline data management, make it redundant for security, and then make sure that the policy interventions, the regulatory measures are effective and felt at family, household level. Then we expand already, classrooms, every sector. But again, I insist, we educate government first.
Thank you, sir. Attorney
Well,
Lee?
ako naman, regarding that, artificial intelligence, again, I'm 100% for artificial intelligence because ito lang yung susi natin para sa tagumpay ng kada Pilipino at saka yung buong Pilipinas. Ito talaga ito. This is the susi. Ito yung susi natin. Now, with regard to that, may mga software na ngayon na hindi pwede i-plagiarize. Pag meron kang gagawin, pwede i-check that, and then malalaman po na natin kung talagang plagiarize yan o hindi. Pero dito po, yung sinasabi ko na artificial intelligence 1:1, meron po tawag dyan na guardrails. Kumbaga, yan po ang ititrain, yan po ang nagbibigay ng itong yung human creator nila na ito, hanggang dito lang tayo, hindi pwede tayo mag-ganon-ganon. This one will not teach the student, will not give the student yung answers. It will guide them to the answers. Yan pong tawag ng critical thinking. Kulang tayo dito sa critical thinking. And we should do that.
Alright. Thank you so much for your answers, Senator and Attorney. Magagandang sagot, partner. So ngayon, nasa usapin na rin po tayo ng mga sektor kung saan mahirap ilapit itong konsepto ng digitalization. Para sa follow-up question, may mga pagkakataon na ang mga senior citizen o yung mga hindi pamilyar sa teknolohiya ay agad na nire-reject ang idea ng digitalization. Paano po natin mapapadali ang transition period o itong dahan-dahang pagsishift to digitalize services para sa mga sektor na ito? At ano po ang itsura nito sa grounds? Anong mga praktikal na hakbang para ipatupad dito? So, medyo mabigat ang tanong, partner, ano? So, let's start with Senator Honasan.
Bakit naman ako yung inuna sa mabigat na tanong?
Okay.
Bibiro na. Hindi. Karen, no? Esra. Ito, eleksyon na naman. Hindi lang senior citizens, no? Indigenous peoples, persons with disability, o FW, naalala lang tuwing eleksyon. In other words, ang singilan during elections. Dapat ang singilan between elections, di ba? Pakaboto, papabayaan na. Diba? So dapat siguro, tutukan natin ito. Itong pangailangan ng senior citizens, yung mga marginalized sectors. Asikasuhin natin sila at sila ang unang educate natin dahil sila nakakalimutan na, sila napapabayaan.
Pero paano po natin mapapalapit po sa mga senior citizens? Kunyari po, ano, kasi sometimes they're scared of technology, like online payments.
Ewan ko sila kung may apo na.
Online shopping.
Wala pa. Bata pa ako.
Sa mga apo, sa mga anak natin. It must start at household level. We cannot give, we cannot share what we do not have.
Right.
Diba? Harmony in the families, cooperation, education. Cooperation in the communities, diba? Inclusive growth, coordination. Diba? Order in the state and security in our shores. Then integrate backwards. So we have to start at personal, senior citizens. May mga apo, may mga anak yan. O di yung mag-asawa.
Sila na lang.
Diba? Yung kapitbahay na bata-bata. Kayo.
Sila dapat ang magtuturo. Oo nga, ano.
Turuan natin yung senior citizens.
Partner.
Turuan ninyo mga...
It starts with the household, ang digital education. Right? And same question for Attorney Verceles.
Yeah, tama po yung sinabi ni Senator Honasan eh. That's why we need him back in the Senate. Totoo. So, ganyan po. Senior citizen, medyo kulang, pero madami yan ayaw na. Madami yan na-overwhelm. So, may mga apo man naman sila eh. May mga anak sila na sila na magtuturo sa kanila. Yung mga basics lang pwede yun. That's why, yung plano ko talaga, we will educate yung kabataan from the very, very beginning. Hanggang preschool pa sila, meron na silang libreng computer. Pag 8 years old or below, tablet, kasi hindi kaya pa yung mga delivery nila. Pero tapos ng 8 years old, pwede na computer. Laptop po yun. Sa kanila na yun. That will be there for the whole life. Sa kanila na yun. And that's why it's going to be expensive, but we have to do it. Let's teach them, and they'll be the ones to take care of the elderly pagka nasa productive force, nasa labor force na sila, or even the beginning, silang tutulong lang sa mga senior citizen. Let's not expect too much from the senior citizen because talaga medyo gusto nila mag-relax lang. That's okay. That's fine. Let the children be the one to teach them how to do it. Ganon. And yan, kasi talaga yan ang naman nangyayaring po ngayon eh. You ask a senior citizen, usually the senior citizen humingi ng tulong sa mga anak nila, o mga apo nila. Yan ang style. That's what they do. And it's okay. Let's do it that way. But let us teach the children, bigay po natin sa kanila ng world-class education. Hindi yung education pang UP, pang Lasal or Ateneo. Hindi, mas mataas pa. We can do that with AI. We can do it.
Additional, sir.
Idagdag ko lang, Esther, di ba? Yun naman ang upside ng COVID. Work from home, study from home. Paano ba nauso yung Grab? Yung, di ba?
Yes.
Technology. Senior citizens, di ba? They are benefiting from it. Yun ang digitalization.
That's it.
Right. Very well said. And,
Very well said.
Ang ganda din ng mga questions ni Dr. Lloyd. It's very mind-opening, ika nga. Pero siguro ang masasabi lang natin, partner, is ang digitalization dapat ay para sa lahat. Ano man ang edad, ano man ang estado sa buhay, ano mang economic level man kayo naroroon, kung kayo man ay nasa laylayan o medyo may kaya. But at the same time, it has to be accessible to everybody, di ba? Internet services should be accessible to everyone, should be affordable, and syempre, kailangan madali ring gamitin, di ba?
That's correct, partner. Dapat inclusive at kasama lahat.
Yes.
And whether we like it or not, darating talaga ang digitalization, katulad nga ng sinabi nila, partner, we are living in the digital era talaga. So mas maganda ay handa tayo at protektado tayo.
Tama yan.
At muli, yan po sina Attorney Leandro Verceles at former Senator Gringo Honasan tumatakbo pagka-senador para sa 2025 national and local elections. Maraming salamat sa inyong mga ibinahagi ngayong araw.
Maraming salamat din sa mga kasama natin ngayon sa studio at mula sa nagbigay ng oras para mas mapalawak at ipalapit sa publiko ang talaking ito, lalo na kay Dr. Lloyd Bautista. Thank you, sir, for joining us this day. Ayan po. At ako naman po, si Karen Owyong.
At ako, si Ezra Raya. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang isa na namang issue na ating hihimayin kasama ang iba pang mga kandidato bilang mga susunod na lider ng bansa.
Para sa mas pinalawak na mga diskusyon,
tungo sa maalam at responsableng pagboto. Ito ang Bakit Ikaw? DZRH and the Manila Times Town Hall Election Series.